I don't have much of a plan for this video. I've just got two toads here, and I want to talk about them a bit. Gonna try and keep them contained here. Can we do it? Can you calm down? But lots of you have been asking about them, and I can probably do some care stuff on them because they are actually the animal that I've kept longer than, I guess, any other species. So I've always considered Sunny, my ball python, to be the animal that got me into reptiles and amphibians, but in reality, I've been keeping toads even longer than that. I caught my very first ones, which I know we'll get on to talking about catching them in just a second. That was like 7 years ago, maybe? One of which, who unfortunately we talked about, died a few months ago, but I had him for those solid 7 years. And then these two I've had since 2014. Actually, I think it was in November that I caught them. So exactly 3 years ago is when I caught these. Now that's the issue with them. They're really not captive bred very often. I've never actually seen captive bred ones for sale. You can buy them on some sketchy sites online for really cheap, but I'm sure they're just wild caught or imported from different parts of the country. And that goes the same with these, who I talked about specifically in other videos that you can check out on the channel. But we're not really going to get into that because that's kind of up for you to decide, and those other videos can help you out when choosing whether you're okay with having wildcat animals or not. I think it really depends on the circumstances and just on your opinions on it. So I think these toads are really underrated because, for one, they're kind of found everywhere depending on where you live. They're just so common. You'll see hundreds of them on the roads if it's like warm and rainy, and they're just that species that everyone kind of knows about, but I feel like they don't get very much attention overall. And it is just weird to think I've never had reptiles without toads being a part of the room, so I can't really imagine it without them. At the same time, they are just so simple when it comes to feeding them or keeping them. Okay, I just have one toad now so that it's easier to actually keep it from jumping to its death. But when it comes to feeding them and keeping them and the size of the enclosure that they're in, it's all just so simple and so basic. They really would make a really great beginner animal, depending on where you can actually find them. I've fed my toads such a big assortment of things throughout the years. I started out, what did I start out with? Probably just crickets. When I started, I didn't even know what like calcium and multivitamins were, because this is before I did like any research, which is not good, but this is like 11-year-old me, so hopefully I get a tiny pass. Not really, I don't really deserve it. But they're just like plain crickets that I went out and found outside, which I definitely don't suggest. But when it comes to just feeding and housing, and I guess even technically handling, or just all the care all around, it seems super simple, and I've done a lot throughout the years to care for them, and a lot of different things have worked. So I've learned quite a bit about them, and I can probably do some care videos now on them. I did one like a long time ago. I'm not even gonna link it, it was really bad. But I'd almost consider them, like take a Pac-Man frog, which we talked about just very recently, and then keep it just as simple, but a little more active and personable maybe. And then I think you have the American toad. Like you can see, Franklin, the turtle, is actually on the floor, and she's just staring right at him. So you can see there's kind of a lot of personality there. They've got those very grumpy faces that we enjoy a lot. But yeah, they really don't need very much, just like a Pac-Man frog. Really, their only goals are to stay safe and get the food that they need, which is not very hard to supply them with. Okay, well, that kind of shows you just how simple they are to feed, because she's trying to eat a microphone and my fingers. Stop. And I've caught and released probably like a couple hundred toads by now. And there's just so many variations of them too, just natural color changes, different little patterns, and they just come in all sorts of different sizes, whether they are adults that happen to be a little bit larger or a little bit smaller. So even naturally, there are just a lot of variants about them. So whether it is because they're just so simple to care for, or because they have really interesting and unique personalities between them, I think they are a very underappreciated animal. Just in herpetology in general. We didn't even talk about the stuff that they do for the environment. That's kind of a whole other thing. But I just want to kind of give them some extra attention and kind of preview you to some other stuff that we can talk about in the future. Pretty basic video today, nothing super specific. I didn't actually write anything for this. I just turned the camera on and started recording toads. So hopefully you didn't mind it. But I think that'll be it for this video. Let me know if you do actually want more toady stuff or other amphibians in general. But that'll be it for this video. So I'm Alex, and thanks for watching.